Welcome, SOBs, to the French Quarter. I have old New Orleans here behind me because tonight we are going to go on an adventure in the Crescent City in the year 1861. On the eve of the Civil War, you're watching our tabletop live stream show, the Neptune Society, where we play Call of Cthulhu 7th edition, new original adventures created by me and Clinton Trucks, and starring some incredible players who I'm going to bring out in just a moment. Before I do that, big news. Subscriptions are live. We are excited to announce we finally have subscriptions for everybody. Unfortunately, Twitch are dragging their feet on approving our emotes, but we expect them to become active very soon. And I can show you those emotes. If you are a subscriber, you will have access to these emotes. We have the hashtag #GetPink for our Vampires of Pittsburgh fans. I've never had a part in creating a catchphrase before, and I'm so thrilled that Get Pink has caught on. Hashtag Get Pink. We have the Cool Thulu and the Skull Thulu, yeah. So those are our emotes. If you subscribe, you'll get access to those, and we have a lot of other stuff coming for subscribers. We're going to do subscriber games. And all kinds of special little things that subscribers can take advantage of. So please subscribe to Stream of Blood, and you'll get access to all that cool stuff. Will Potworth, by the way, and Declan McCarthy did the incredible art that you saw there, and Will Potworth did that incredible little title page you just saw. We're going to try to sort of customize some of our series now with these extra little title cards and more art from Will Potworth. I can never get enough Will Potworth art. So he did our little piece that you saw as the show opened there. There's been sad news, such sad news over and over this year. But yesterday we found out that RBG had passed away. It's sad and it stinks, and it makes me feel bad. And what can we do? What can we do to handle these feelings? Well, we can't do a lot except let the people that we love know that we love them and vote. Please vote in November and make sure your friends and family vote too. Okay. If you're a fan of Stream of Blood, I know how you'll be voting. I think I do. Maybe I don't. But either way, no matter who you are, vote in November and make your voice heard. Let's bring out our players because I'm so excited about tonight's adventure scenario. This guy is a regular playing Curtis Krieger on our Vampires of Pittsburgh series. He is one of the greatest natural role players living today and a member of the Improvised Shakespeare Company, among a lot of other things. And I'm so happy to have him here playing, bringing back his character, Orlando Robichaud. Please welcome Ross Bryant, everybody.
Well, how y'all are? It's good for you to see me.
How's it going, buddy?
How's it going, man? Good to see you.
It's good to see you. Thanks for coming back. Orlando Robichaud, it's been a little while since we saw him. This is like episode 4 of the Neptune Society might have been the last time.
That's right. Last time I believe it was in last time I was present, it was in Savannah, was it not? Or Charleston?
You were actually in Charleston.
Charleston, right, on our
South
little
Carolina, yeah.
mission, finding buried pirate treasure and horrible arcane secrets.
Yes.
And though I believe he maybe you told me he made an appearance in a later episode.
Very brief. I had cameos from most of the Neptune Society in one of our Gen Con games. So Orlando was part of that, part of the band at a very important coming out party for Hypatia Montague. And many other guests were there from the Neptune Society. But don't worry, I didn't want to do too much with your character. He just asked for some cocaine and then moved off screen.
That's well within his character. So,
yes, excellent. Tonight it's a mystery in New Orleans, his stomping ground, and Orlando is based on somebody. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Oh man, loosely based on this musician that I only first heard of in the past year, named Louis Gottschalk.
Yeah,
a composer and pianist from New Orleans. Living around the time that this game is set in the late 1800s. And he like soaked up a bunch of the musical milieu of that place, and you listen to some of the things that he composed. In particular, I love this one composition called Banjo, where he reproduces the sound. I guess the legend is of maybe a street musician banjo player, and reproduces it on the piano. It sounds like Debussy or Eric Satie jazz, sort of. It's very unique and cool.
That's cool. And yeah, this guy Gottschalk, he was sort of there for the birth of jazz. Like Evo, tonight we're playing in the year 1861, but the musical roots of jazz were there in New Orleans at the time, and Gottschalk was at the center of that, and so is Orlando Robichaux in our fictional universe. So we'll get a little bit into that as well tonight. I'm going to bring out your next player. Boy, has her character had a roller coaster ride through many different adventures in the Neptune Society. She started as a Dickensian orphan, and then she, grew up and became a medical student who raised a dead body back to life. And of course, she's portrayed by a woman who is a killer, streamer, role player, actress, host, everything. Please welcome Becca Scott as Wilma Middlemass, everybody.
Hello, it's me, Wilma Middlemass, but that's I'm a proper lady now, so that's not me anymore. Right. I'm perfectly sane now.
Yeah, you look sane.
Thank you.
Chat, you have to give up big props to Becca for noting on her sheet that last adventure she got quite a head scar and bringing it into the game tonight.
Well, it's just the truth. When I charmed that Navy captain into, I had this on my face, but somehow he fell for it, and I didn't get put in the sanitarium then.
Maybe he thought, maybe he was like, well, that's not ideal, but it's probably going to heal. And then, like, when it didn't heal, he was like, hey, I have to ship out again.
Yeah, that's he's not really my type. I just kind of needed something from him.
That's right. I forgot. Yeah. So we're gonna get into Wilma Middlemass's her romantic situation, among other things, her health situation, maybe her money situation, who knows? But definitely we're gonna find out what happened to her after the last series, because she had a bumpy ride. Are you excited for tonight? What do you think's gonna happen to her?
She's ready for anything. And after her friends exploded, nothing else can surprise her.
That which doesn't kill me makes me stronger, right? There we go. Yeah. That's the best answer to that. Okay, our third and final player. Boy, I'm so thrilled to have her here. She's been a video game designer, a role-playing game designer. She's dungeon mastered some of the best in the business, and she's new to the Neptune Society. So let's give her a very warm welcome. Please welcome, playing a inquiry agent, a detective type in the year 1861. Please welcome Kate Welch, everybody. Hi, Kate.
I'm just delighted to be here tonight. It's my pleasure, my very real pleasure, Mr. Logan, to be a part of your game.
Thank you for coming in hot with the accent.
It's not going to leave. This is in character. This is out of character. This is how it's going to be tonight.
I love it. Yeah, this is that's the best thing about an adventure totally set in New Orleans. We can all do our Gone with the Wind voice the entire time.
Mm-hmm. Oh no. There's no way I'm not going to slip into it.
That's okay, Becca.
It's a night of 1,000 accents.
I already have two built into this character. Yeah. And I'm not good at either of them.
In the city. Have you ever done that where you spend like a week in London and then suddenly you're like cheerio, and you're like, and your wife's like, did you just say cheerio? That's happened to me.
I lived in London for a while. It's about 6 or 7 days.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I take cheers now. That's just what I do.
Yeah. Thank you so much, the three of you, for being here. Shall we play Call of Cthulhu?
Yeah.
Come in.
Let's do it. I'm gonna, yeah, why not? We're here to do it. Let me set the scene with our friend Kate Welch. You're playing a character named Geraldine Beauregard. Can you tell us a little bit about her?
Ms. Geraldine Beauregard, thank you very much.
Yes, thank you.
I am an investigator. This one with the silver tip, which I've never seen without, was given to me by Alan Pinkerton himself. A gift from the last Pinkerton convention. I was recognized for my excellence in criminal detection and activity. I do not tolerate any semblance, any whiff of any illegality that might be found. I am here to enforce the law and to stop those who might try to break it. Oh, bandit.
Very good. And you are here in old New Orleans in the year 1861. It's actually March of 1861, where you are plying your trade as an investigator for hire. And, sometimes Geraldine, she finds herself doing meaningful work where she is catching bad guys or, putting lawbreakers in jail. But other times she acts almost as more of maybe an insurance investigator or middle of the 19th century private eye. And so on this particular evening, she finds herself at a building in New Orleans called the French Opera House. The French Opera House. The French Opera House was one of the first big music venues in New Orleans in the middle of the 19th century. And yes, it is where they would perform operas, but they also had all different types of concerts there. And you find yourself, Geraldine, in the office of impresario Charles Cormier. Cormier is sort of the man who runs the opera house. And his office is a clutter of contracts, playbills, purchase orders, and it's all obscured by a haze of cigar smoke. I'll use my pencil. He's blowing cigar smoke into your lap as you sit facing him. And he has have a bit of a problem I was hoping you might help me to solve, Geraldine.
Well, that depends very much on the nature of the problem, sir. What plagues you?
Well, I think that it might be in your line. You see, you may have seen the posters. I have been advertising and have sold hundreds of dollars worth of tickets to a concert featuring the famed composer, songwriter, and performer Foster Stevens, right? I mean, here's the poster right here. You saw it on your way in, right?
Of course. How could I miss it? They're plastered on every hallway, every floor and ceiling, sir.
Why, it's going to be the event of the season, Miss Beauregard. Now, I have a bit of a problem. And that problem is that Stevens has disappeared from his hotel room at the Hotel Royale. And, how can I put this? He is known to enjoy a nip now and then. And not being from our fair city, I fear that the temptations of the French Quarter may have, made him stray from the path of the straight and narrow.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, he may be laying in a back alley somewhere, and my concert is going up in approximately 24 hours.
I get my pocket watch out of the pocket of my corset. It's got its own little pocket watch pocket. I check it very punctuously, snap it closed. Well, 24 hours isn't quite enough to find a missing person, especially if he could be here or there in any of these gutters of this horrific city. Do you have anything else I can go on, sir?
Well, I tell you, when it comes to lowlifes, scumbags, and people that live at the lowest levels of society in our fair city, I happen to know a man who might know those types of riffraff and be able to introduce you, make acquaintances, help you make inquiries. Have you ever met Orlando Robichaud?
I don't believe that I have had the pleasure.
He's a scoundrel, but perhaps he could be of service to you. I can offer you both $100 if you can find my man by this time tomorrow.
I've been able to find just about any man I set my eyes to, so just point me to the direction of this Orlando Robichaud.
Well, you can find him down at Antoine's restaurant this time of evening, I'd suppose. Right down the road a bit. You know the place, don't you?
Unfortunately, I do. Tell me what this man looks like so that I might not accost anyone untoward.
He's a little man, a small in stature man, but large in personal magnetism. You won't be able to miss him. He'll probably be drunk. That's why he's good at finding drunks.
Well, let's hope it takes a lot less than 24 hours. I don't fancy myself hanging out with a bunch of drunken men. Not tonight.
Well, good luck, and thank you for taking the case. I hope that you can help me. I mean, I could not stand it if I allowed this musician to put the French opera out of business in one night.
Sir, the reputation of your business is, of course, of the utmost importance to me and my reputation. And we'll make sure you get your musician back in plenty of time.
Very good. You can show yourself out. Thank you, miss.
I'm sure I can.
As you leave, let's just review how Call of Cthulhu works very quickly. Kate, why don't you make an intelligence roll for me? You're going to roll a D100,
Okay.
and you're going to try to roll under your intelligence attribute score, which is what? What is your intelligence?
My intelligence is, I'm so glad you asked. Can't wait to tell you. Intelligence is 50.
Okay, so she's average intelligence, our Geraldine, but she's an intuitive investigator and a bit of a ass kicker, if I recall correctly from her sheet. Let's see if she remembers to ask perhaps a pertinent question.
51, unfortunately.
So this is great. So we're reviewing two rules. The other is that when you fail a roll by only a couple of points, you may spend that much luck, right?
Oh.
So you failed it by 1 point. Why don't you spend a point of luck and remember to ask something?
I will. I spend a point of luck. Here we go.
You do that. And I just will let everybody know that in my game, only 10 points of luck. That's the maximum you can spend on a roll.
Okay.
So you spend 1 point of luck, and as you're shutting the door, you see that there's a number on the door, and you think, yes. And you ask, what was our friend Foster Stevens, the man you're looking for, Foster Stevens, what is his
Foster
room
Stevens.
at the Hotel Royale?
Got it.
And Beauregard tells you, oh, yes, I've been putting him up there. Let's see, I have that somewhere. Yes, room 209.
209. Very well.
Very good. And so now let us away to Antoine's restaurant. I think that's the scene we'll set next, shall we? Yes. And let's talk to we'll bring in Geraldine in just a moment. Let's talk to Orlando Robichaud and Wilma Middlemass. How is Wilma Middlemass here? How has she come to be on a different continent? Well, Wilma, after your last shock, you recovered, did you not? You escaped from the situation, and you recovered for 2 years. It took
That's
you to
right.
recover.
Yes, it was 3 years ago I last saw something most horrific while attempting to attend a seance. And since then, I've spent 2 of these 3 years in an asylum.
Yes.
But I've been out for a year, and I've been working in Paris, in fact, studying medicine, and recently brought with a friend to the Big Easy, as it were.
Yeah. Yeah, I would think of this as, you had your schooling, which was in medicine and science, right? And now you're having your
My
year
first
abroad.
schooling was the streets, I must say, of London.
Right. Oh, you've attended several schools. The School of Hard Knocks on the streets of London, then a medical school, which was instructed by Dr. McCorkadall. And then, as you say, you recovered from your shock. So you had almost 2 years of what they call at this time period, they call it moral therapy.
Yes.
That sounds scary, but it really just meant that instead of like locking people up and putting them in chains or putting, gags in their mouths, there were certain people who in the 1850s decided, hey, maybe we'll do something that's kind of like modern day rehab, where you probably had to go, Wilma, and like kind of work on a farm and just sort of calm down for a while, and your life was just very regimented for a while. This probably was also useful for people who were afraid that you might have too close a relationship with your friend Theodosia. Can you tell us how that's going, or what happened with Theodosia?
I don't know why anyone would think that. We're simply friends, and I write to her twice a week.
Yes.
Yes, Theodosia Cornelius, a very kind friend, smart woman, talented. We do many things together. Of course, discuss news and politics, and of course, she is a married woman, and so that is what it is.
She has become married now, but yet you still write to her twice a week. And does she write you back?
She writes me back. She's somewhat occupied, with the duties of being the Lady Viscount.
Right, running a household, of course.
Indeed.
Well, it makes total sense to me that you would away to the American continent for a little R&R, to see the world a little more, and to leave behind a somewhat troubled past in Edinburgh and in London. Let me ask you, did you determine how much sanity Wilma had returned to her for her therapy?
Okay. Well, I did.
I have that right
I
here.
didn't know if you want. Oh, yeah.
I've done it for you, and it's super important because where was your sanity left? Where is it right now? Before we return it.
After several bouts of madness, it's now at 36.
Well, guess what? This is so funny. So I did 2 years worth of month-to-month therapy rolls for you. I had to keep rolling a D3, and you actually got
together.
Yeah, you actually got 36 more sanity back.
That's amazing.
So as long as that doesn't, your Cthulhu Mythos skill takes down how much total sand you can have. So as long as it doesn't go over that, I believe that you have 72 sanity to work with tonight, which is, thank God.
My maximum is 78, so that all works out. I have 21 in Mythos for the things that I've seen.
People that play Call of Cthulhu at home, if your investigators are going really mad very quickly, probably a good idea to just, put like a year or two between adventures sometimes so they have time to fully recover, as Miss Wilma Middlemass has done. And she has met a contact of the Neptune Society, someone who can show her the town, help her paint the town red. And currently you are both in Antoine's restaurant, one of the first and oldest restaurants in New Orleans, enjoying wine. You see, Antoine's, New Orleans being a very low to the water table city, does not have cellars. So Antoine's has a long corridor filled with nothing but wine bottles. And tonight, one bottle after another has been corked for Mr. Orlando Robichaud and his new friend, comrade, Wilma Middlemass, as they discuss the world and everything in it. And so you may tell me, how are things with you, Orlando? You are now what age? You are in your 50s now.
Yeah, I'm 53. So the sprightly little Orlando is getting a little white around the temples, and there may be the beginnings of one of those in his dark flop of hair, one of the beginnings of one of those stripes of white that just goes across the top to the back. And while his face is, his eyes a little bit more sunken, the creases and wrinkles in his visage a little more deep, his hands are as youthful as a child's, it seems. And as he speaks, a coin kind of dances down the staircase of his fingers as he raises the glass to his lips, and whatever. A fine Beaujolais that dances well upon the palate as well upon the nose, Miss Middlemass. Seems to me that one who's been so long bereft of the charms and pleasures of the senses should indulge them while they can. Gather ye rosebuds while ye may, for tomorrow, etc.
Yes.
You guys have been talking about the world, enjoying your wine, when someone enters, a woman who appears to be all business, and she approaches your table.
You are Orlando Robichaud, are you not?
I stand when a lady approaches.
As do I. Swaying, but with not with unsteady, but kind of dance-like swaying.
I was matching you drink for drink, so same.
I'm loath to deny what so lovely a creature would accuse me of. I am the same, Orlando Robichaud. So who do I have the pleasure of introducing myself to? You have me at a disadvantage, madam.
I am Ms. Geraldine Beauregard of the Pinkerton Agency. Your man at the French Opera sent me. I've got a bit of a musician problem, and I cast my look over at Wilma, and extremely judgmentally, Wilma, how are you dressed?
Simply as a lady at the time, high collar, dark, big skirt, but it's not like too full because I'm not that much of a lady. But I'm wearing a skirt.
Okay. Tell me about your bodice. Tight corset? No.
Everything is corseted, but buttoned up, sort of stern.
Okay. Excellent. I look up and down at your outfit, and I judge you positively. I say, and who might you be, miss?
I take your hand and kiss it. Wilma Middlemass. No title?
Very good. I turn my attention back to Orlando. There's a Foster Stevens that appears to be missing, a musician of some repute. Rumor has it he may be in the dark alleys and disgusting byways of this sin-ridden city.
And so Cormier has sent you to me to serve as some sort of bloodhound in these dark and treacherous byways where angels fear to tread?
He implied as much, that you may be a bit of a guide.
Well, tell him that I do not indulge in such services for free, especially considering he insists on keeping me at second chair in his orchestra.
He assured me that payment would be remitted in the number of $100 per person, and I'm sure Miss Middlemass,
Yes.
you could be counted in among this total at some point.
Well, here's
You know,
one
not of
of
my qualifications, but I do insist that I have been through a thing or two and, well, know my way around a mysterious case, as it were.
Well, the night's revels then have just begun. If we are to unite together as this band of merry wanderers into the night, since you have spoken or implied at least my favorite word, remuneration. Let us, as you can see, Mr. Stevens cannot be found in these environs. Do you know where he was last espied?
Unfortunately, I do not, but I also worry that you may be a bit too drenched for our current investigation. Are you sure you don't need to dry up a bit, Mr. Robichaud?
Come. There are Regian sponges that have drunk deeper than I, and I promise, I am as sharp as the blades of far Iberia. This, I flipped the coin and catch it, and then it's gone. It's here.
And now that is a way to introduce yourself. Is everybody moving out into the night, out into the investigation?
Shall we? I take my hat.
As you start to leave, the server comes up and goes, Monsieur, the matter of the bill. And you look back at a table covered in empty wine bottles.
I am gone, and so is the wine opener. Already in play.
He hands you a card with the total on it, and it might. I don't want to put words in your character's mouth, but it might make your eyebrow go up a little bit.
It does so. And then I should say, "Come, my good man, do you not recognize me? Please put this on the bill of fare, Mr. Charles Cormier. I'm sure he's good for it. It is he who stands as liege over the musical edifice currently blotting out the sun to our south."
The server kind of looks at you skeptically, and what the hell? Let's have a roll. I can tell you that failing it won't mean that we'll stay in the restaurant fighting a waiter for the rest of the adventure. But I do want to see how this trio's partnership gets, what kind of a start it gets off to. So credit rating or fast talk. It sounded like you fast talked the gentleman, Orlando.
That's the idea. Oh, what do you know? I made it.
There you go. He's like, Cormier, Yes, I believe he's a patron here. Excuse me, sir. Excuse me. Thank you.
Oh, think nothing of it, my good man.
And you were
Be sure to
out.
give yourself a 35% tip on Mr. Cormier. He is a generous soul.
And you are out into the night. It is March in New Orleans, which means that it is not necessarily balmy. There is a wind off the water, but the sky is clear and bright, and it is now dusk. You have until a little before dusk tomorrow night to find Foster Stevens. And here is where the game gets hard, because here's where you have to decide what to do. Ladies and gentlemen, tell me where you'd like to look first.
May I roll for intelligence to see if I know that many of the musicians in town have been seen coming and going from the Hotel Royale?
You know what? You may roll if you'd like, but it sounds like you already thought of it. But you're welcome to roll if
Geraldine
you'd like.
Orlando, I have seen many large cases coming out of the Hotel Royale. Shall we begin there?
It's an incredible observation. I just turn on my heel and I swing toward the direction of the Hotel Royale. And I don't wait for either of you, but I continue the conversation, sort of blasting it out in the air before me. An excellent observation, Ms. Middlemass. As I was leaving Mr. Cormier's office, I did notice that there was a bit of information that I needed, and it seems Foster Stevens was staying in room 209.
Very good. So Geraldine's doing a walk and talk with you, like it's the West Wing. And
Can I just say I do like a cool roll of my hand, and my hat's actually like a men's top hat, and I put it on my head with a tap.
Awesome. It's just a short stroll away. So let me know if there's anything else you'd like to do before you enter the environs of the Hotel Royale.
Can I do a spot hidden and look up at the windows above and see if there's anything unusual?
Wow. Spoken like someone who's played Call of Cthulhu before. Absolutely.
Gerald, you told me tonight was a mystery. Success. Exactly a success.
All of the windows of the Hotel Royale, and I'll say your success lets you kind of circumnavigate the building as much as that is possible. All the windows of the Hotel Royale remain intact, and it do not appear to have been breached or tampered with in any way.
Interesting.
All right. Well, I gesture to Geraldine like, the wind already blows you on its course, and your argosy follows. Lead on, madame.
I stand right next to him and also gesture for the lady to go first.
I stop at the entrance to this hotel and I give a very sharp side eye to Orlando. It's reserved just for you because I've already categorized you as a lowlife. I'm like, do not abscond your duty too quickly, Mr. Robichaux. I'm sure we will unfortunately have need for your services before the night is through. And I push through those double doors into the hotel.
You push through forcefully. And at this time in history, there is not an elevator inside of the Hotel Royale, so you will have to move up the large staircase straight ahead to make your way to the second floor. But as you do so, an officious-looking little man with a tiny mustache and a bald pate head in a tight suit moves to intercept you and goes, excuse me, hello, may I help you, madame?
Is this intercepting me?
He is intercepting the three of you if you've all entered and are walking across the tile floor.
Orlando
We are
catches up to
visiting
them.
guests, please, if you don't mind. We'll just head up these stairs without bother.
Are you a guest of the hotel?
We are guests of a guest, thank you.
He gives side eye to Orlando.
Orlando takes a sugar lump that he already swiped from a table in the lobby and was like,
and then he gives side eye to the ladies as well. He gives everyone side eye. None of you look quite like someone that would stay in the very refined airs of the Hotel Royale. He goes, I'm afraid if you are not a guest, the second floor is not open to you.
I pull out from my corset an impeccable calling card, and I hand it to him officiously and say, Monsieur, you have the acquaintance of Ms. Geraldine Beauregard of the Pinkteron Agency. I'm sure you understand this is on official business, that we will need access to the second floor as a matter, of course, of an official investigation.
I understand that. I do not want Pinkertons walking around upstairs looking into my guests' bags to do the detection. That would cause me to lose my job, and I take my job very seriously.
If
I'm
you
sure
take your job seriously, then perhaps you'll understand that the consequences for you could be dire if you don't obey us in every regard. It could amount to quite a bit of trouble for you, as I circle around behind him and whispered over his shoulder.
Ooh, it sounds like someone wants a roll. It sounds like you're taking a risk and you're trying to intimidate.
I'm trying to persuade.
Oh, you're trying to persuade by telling him that bodily harm could come to him?
It's for his own good. Sounds like persuasion to me.
Well, as your keeper, and I almost never do this, it sounds like intimidation to me.
Yeah, okay.
So you may roll your intimidation.
He's not one to back down. He stands his ground.
Okay.
I do trip over my own skirts because I really hate to wear skirts and then just fall flat on my face on the tile of the lobby.
He moves over to the bell on the desk and does like a couple quick dings, and a large gentleman moves out from some back room behind the desk and moves toward you in a bowler hat, and he's like, "This is my friend Maurice, and he makes sure that the rules of the hotel are followed." Would someone else like to take a different tactic to get past this very challenging concierge?
Go ahead, Orlando. You go for it.
I'll last ditch effort, or just step forward and be like, as my companion said, we are guests of a guest. I assure you, we shall be there, deliver our message, and return again as swift as thought. And Maurice shall not have to indulge in whatever services he provides to this fine establishment. I promise you that we are about our business in great haste, monsieur.
And what tactic are you using there, Orlando?
I guess this sounds like persuade.
It does. It does. You may try persuade.
Yeah, he doesn't like me.
Now, when you fail a roll, and I should have mentioned this for Becca, but Becca knows this. She probably decided not to attempt it right now. You may push a roll, meaning you roll again, but you have to tell me how you are trying harder or using a new tactic to make the roll work. And you try again. Maybe you succeed. If you fail, something terrible happens, and that's when you see a big game master smile come over my face, because those are my favorite moments.
Okay, I have enough. What can I mean, I don't know if this is roll worthy, but can I roll intelligence to know? I feel like Orlando might know if there's especially if there is a bar and stuff here. Would he know another entrance into this place that's not through the lobby?
That's a very different tactic. So you're not going to push your persuade roll. You're going to try a different way of getting in. No need to roll intelligence, Orlando. No need to roll intelligence. That sounds very likely and like a smart tactic. Are you going to try it? Are you going to try to get you and your companions to extricate yourselves from this officious gentleman?
If he seems unmoved after all this, then I may just nod at him, nod at Maurice, a little stiff bow to the desk clerk, and say, "Very well then. If our credentials are not in order to your satisfaction, then we shall return anon with the key that shall open this golden gate. We will trouble your door no longer until you deem us worthy." And after that, I just kind of glance to both of them and turn around and walk out the door.
Okay.
I make eye contact with Maurice and go over to the sugar bowl and give it a flick.
Great. You flick sugar. He seems slightly insulted, but it's hard to tell because Maurice's face doesn't move very much.
So as Orlando and Wilma leave, I hang back for a moment and I lean down to this tiny officious man and say, Monsieur Maurice, how long have you been concierge at this hotel?
Maurice is my security man. I am. My name is. My name is Rene, and I have been the concierge here since the hotel opened.
I see. Is there a night concierge, or are you here pretty much all the time?
I do not leave my post. I sleep in one of the rooms, but only for an hour at a time, madame.
And who is concierge during that hour?
During that hour, Maurice here, and he's kind of like. Meanwhile, would we like to sneak upstairs? The other two who have absconded themselves outside of the hotel, while Geraldine is kind of keeping this guy busy. You may give me a stealth roll, and you can take a bonus die because this guy's helping you now. You might say, well, my stealth's not good, or he has better stealth than me. If you'd like, you may do a group roll, meaning the one who has the better score can roll, and the other person will roll, and if they fail, it costs him a little sanity. This is how I do it. I kind of stole this from Blades in the Dark. Or if they succeed, it helps his roll.
Okay.
I have a 40 in stealth.
So do I.
Oh,
wow.
Ooh.
After you, Senor Robichaud. Monsieur? I don't know. I'm new to America. It's very strange here.
Ooh.
Okay, both of you roll, and let's see how it goes. We'll say Orlando is leading the way since he came up with the idea.
So give him the bonus?
Yeah, well, yeah, no, you can both roll a bonus die, I think, because Geraldine is distracting the staff.
I can say that I failed.
Okay.
Rather substantially. But
Mr. Robichaud, I believe the fire escape is right there.
Well,
Or maybe they don't have it.
Here's what I'll say. It would be super boring for me to just suddenly say, no, you don't make it upstairs. What I'm going to tell you is that you both go up through like the servants' stairs, right? And you are seen by chefs, bellhops, like you're trying to kind of keep it
I
low
hold my
key.
top hat in front of my face.
Right. Yeah. You actually see like one of the maids like kind of follow you as you go down the hallway. So everybody's clocked you, but you
as
are
the maid
soon.
follows me with the eyes. It's just one of those as we go by.
Right. She's like, oh, monsieur. And so you are soon standing in front of room 209. Let's just have a brief change of scene back to what Geraldine's currently saying to the concierge.
Well, I mean, surely Monsieur Maurice must also. It just sounds so fascinating, the meal schedules that y'all have put together so that you're always on duty. Start over from the beginning. Breakfast begins when exactly?
I have a chart. Wait, let me get it. And he brings out his very organized chart of when meals and breaks happen for the staff here. No roll necessary. This guy now likes you because you're talking about the hospitality biz. Meanwhile, room 209 stands before you, Wilma and Orlando. What would you like to do?
I'd like to place one hand on the throwing knife I keep on my back before we enter.
An eye on the flick knife at my belt, which has never left my side.
Very good.
I clock his knife and I think, you do? Okay.
Back to now.
I see he's not moving, so I kick it in.
Oh, wow. Okay, great. You know what? No
what?
strength roll necessary. It's so
I
fun.
think
and
maybe
happy.
Orlando gets out like, now lock picking is a danger.
Right. So the door is kicked in. Okay, that's excellent. Here we go. All right. Okay. It's a mess. A complete mess. It looks like everything has been thrown about. Bed sheets, drawers look like they've been toppled over, like chests of drawers. The whole place looks like a scene of chaos. But the thing that strikes you even more than that is that an acrid odor meets your noses. A very kind of like pungent smell you can't quite place. If someone would like to make a fighting roll, I can tell you more, or biology about the smell.
Biology is a skill of mine, as are corpses and the knowledge of thereof. Having reanimated one made up of various corpse parts. So perhaps I'll roll for biology.
Very good.
Roll for corpse. Why not?
Yeah, that is a hard success.
Yeah.
Very good. Biology. Oh, you know what? I'm going to allow you to check that. Biology just tells you that the smell reminds you of the carrion flower, the rare carrion flower. Maybe you've heard of these yourselves, players. They are large flowers that when they bloom, they emit the smell of rotting flesh. And that is the smell that is the very unpleasant smell that is meeting your noses in this dark room that looks like it's been tossed about. Let me just tell you the contents and the things that you can investigate. There's a bed, a desk, a wardrobe, and a piano. And I have to make a roll right now for something.
I tell Mr. Robichaux, I know the smell well because Dr. McCorkadall would fill boxes with both carrion flowers and dead body parts and have us try and distinguish which was which.
One of his many eccentric teaching practices.
Who am I to judge others' pastimes? Which is to make biological corpse comparisons. That is what they may wish to do. As I wander over to the piano, is there sheet music on it?
There is, in fact, sheet music on this piano. Yes, there is a handwritten musical composition on the piano, open to the middle of the piece, and pages of it are scattered about the floor. Make a spot hidden. See if you can find all the pages. And meanwhile, I will leave this scene for just... Actually, no, I'm going to stick with it for just a second. How'd you do on your spot hidden, Orlando?
I actually want to push that.
Okay, that's no problem. You can push it and tell me how you are pushing it. What is your tactic to find all of these pages?
I guess I get down on my... Is there a shade that's drawn? Or is there a candle?
Shade? Is there a what? I'm sorry?
Are there a candle?
Okay. There is a candle. Yes. Oh, very good idea. Yeah, you light a candle. Wow,
Yeah,
elementary, my dear Orlando.
Light
Yes,
some
and by
candles
doing
and-
that, I will allow you to roll again. Remember, if you fail, something horrible happens.
I succeeded this time, thank goodness.
Very good, and that means that you finally find the top sheet of the song, along with all of the pages of the song, and you see that it is entitled, "Oh, Come the Rapture." Meanwhile, downstairs, you notice that a maid has come down the huge staircase, Geraldine, and is whispering something in Maurice's ears, and his eyebrows are going up, and he's turning to walk up the stairs while Renee is showing you his chart, his organization chart. I'm sure you're wrapped in attention. What would you like to do?
What else? What can I call Maurice's attention to? Is there like a dining room down here? What's going on this main floor?
That's a great question. So you are correct. To the left of you, a very wide portal opens into sort of a dining room cafe area for the hotel. And to the right of you, there is a room that is sort of a parlor where music might be played and men might have their cigars. So that is to the right of you. And then, of course, straight ahead is the desk. And beside that, the very large staircase leading up. And behind the desk, there's a door that ostensibly leads back to where Orlando and Wilma made it up through the servants' areas.
Okay. So as Maurice is turning to head up these stairs, I I turn and I give a very pointed look into whatever this dining room is. And I say, well, Monsieur Maurice, you head up there. I will break up this fight myself. And I go marching toward the dining room.
Oh, excellent.
Hoping that he'll follow me.
Great. Okay, so let's see. It sounds like you're lying. Would you like to try a fast talk?
Yeah, I'd love to try a fast talk. Let's see.
Great. What is your fast talk skill rating?
It appears to be, I have fast talk 0.5%.
Ooh, dear, it's quite low. It's quite low.
It's very low.
It's very low.
I'm not great at this, y'all.
Well, you're a bit by the book. You're a bit straight laced, as we have already established. I'll tell you what, though. I think that you are so poker faced, right? So deadpan that I'll instead allow you to make a law roll.
Okay, all right.
Like you're kind of like suddenly acting like a cop, right?
Okay. Yes. Oh, for sure. Okay. Excellent. That helps. And I passed. 35 out of 40, baby.
Very good. You may check that skill. That means it might get better as the adventure goes on. You kind of rattle off a bunch of stuff about how there's an altercation and you'll deal with that. And Maurice stops as he goes up the front step and heads to follow you into the smoking lounge. Meanwhile, back upstairs in room 209, just to review really quickly, a bed, desk, wardrobe, and the piano has now been thoroughly searched.
So long as Orlando isn't moving to play the sheet music, I'd like to search the wardrobe.
Very good. So you open the wardrobe, and I think that what you see are all of Foster Stevens' clothes hung neatly on hangers. Several folders and binders, commonplace books containing his compositions, and a safe.
I like to look in each pocket of his clothing.
Very good. Looking in his clothing, you find, the general odds and ends you might find in a gentleman of the times clothing, a bit of tobacco and rolling papers, one loose coin. But you may make an intelligence roll just to make something perfectly clear.
Extreme success.
This man did not go anywhere on purpose. He's left everything he owns, almost literally everything he owns, in this wardrobe.
Monsieur Roberto, it seems that our guests did not leave by their own volition. If you look at, it seems they must have been kidnapped, and perhaps the room was roughed about. I don't know if you'd already jumped to this conclusion.
The wreckage about the place led me to a similar conclusion, unless a very localized hurricano had descended on this room.
Yes.
And I walk over to the bed and throw off more of the covers than are already off, I guess.
Very good. The only thing that you notice with the bed is that there is a kind of a large sort of dark stain on the side of the bed, on the surface of the bed, on the sheets. And in one area, it looks very clearly like it's sort of grayish and damp, and it looks like it is in a star sort of shape.
May I use my biology roll to see if it's any human material?
You certainly may.
That was not something that Dr. McCorkadall ever tested us on.
Well, I will say, no, that's quite. I will say, regardless, that
it was a fumble.
Yeah, no, that's okay. I think that it is odd to you that it looks like perhaps something was standing on the bed or standing in this very odd position, which the bed is up against one wall. So make of that what you will. Meanwhile, downstairs
against the wall.
I can't say for certain, just that the bed is up against the wall and something heavy and viscous was on top of it that has left a kind of an odd pattern on the bed. Meanwhile, downstairs, let's see how smart Maurice is.
Oh, I hope it's not very.
Well, on this particular night, he has a great moment because he rolled a 16, which is quite low. So the second he comes into the smoking lounge and sees that there are only two gentlemen there talking quietly and politely over brandies, he turns to you and goes, "Hey, now look here. What's the meaning of this?"
It looked to me like there was about to be an altercation. They were raising their voices and using some fist-swinging words, and I thought it was my citizen duty as a Pinkerton. I pull out another card. I hand it to Maurice. As a member of the Pinkerton Agency, you understand it is part of our duty to make sure that these kinds of things don't happen in a disgusting, petulant city like this.
Would you like to roll your credit rating? Credit rating is sort of how you prove to people that you are a person of that demands respect.
All right, this is another D100.
Yes, it is.
Okay. It's not great. I did not succeed on that.
Okay.
Credit rating is low.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, I mean, you're a private eye in an era when they are just starting to become a job, and even after it's an established occupation, it doesn't have the highest of respectability level. So he says, "Your friends are upstairs, aren't they?" And he pushes past you and starts running for the stairs now.
Now, I don't want you to mistake them for my friends. As he's running away.
Yes, would you like to follow him?
Yes,
would you like
definitely.
Okay, so you are hot on his heels as he moves up to the second floor, and but you've bought your friends maybe one more chance to kind of maybe look around the room. Orlando or Wilma, is there anything else you'd like to take a look at here?
After backing away from the mysterious hotel bed viscous fluid, whatever that could be, I lower the candelabra down on the desk to see if he's left any personal effects or calling cards that might lead us to his captor.
Yes. The only thing that seems to catch your eye is a contract. There is some sort of business contract unfolded on the desk. And there is a line for his signature, and it has not been signed. And that, do you grab it? Go ahead, Wilma.
As he's stepping towards the desk, may I flip up the mattress and see if there's anything beneath it?
Oh, interesting. You may, and you have done so. And that's what you're doing when Maurice sticks his head around the door. You were told not to go up here or into the guest rooms, and when he looks around the corner, Wilma is literally flipping the mattress on a bed, and the room looks destroyed.
And you can hear Geraldine haranguing him from behind. Now, I don't think it's appropriate to be going into your guest rooms without that permission.
I scream and yell, "Get out of my room, you monster!"
Oh, that is quite a good lie. It's such a good lie that I'm going to have him roll his intelligence again. Now, this time he rolls an 82, which, without you rolling fast talk or something, I'm not going to necessarily make him just believe it, hook, line, and sinker, but you have time now. You have time to do something. So when you're like, "Get out of my room, you monster," he's suddenly like, "Oh," and he steps back sort of confused for a second. So let me know if this it feels like it's about to become a combat, but what do you think that you'd like to do? Let's start with Geraldine. What would you like to do?
I would like to use my fairly robust intimidation skills and try to put my hands on my hips in an officious manner and say, "Now, Monsieur, are you telling me that you just charged into perfectly nice ladies' rooms at the drop of a hat without any permission? Do you know what the Pinkerton Agency would say about these kinds of things? If I were to report this hotel back to my home office, do you know what kind of trouble you and your little boss would be in?"
I love it. You're taking the momentum. You're running with it. You're running with Wilma's lie. You may roll your intimidation skill.
Great. Yes, it's a success. 55 out of 60.
There you go. He goes,
Yeah.
Just get out. I know you're not guests here. Get out. He looks like he doesn't really want to mess with Geraldine too hard. She's bringing the full force of the Pinkerton agency against him. So he's like, leave now, or I'll be forced to call the cops.
Do I just clock visually whether or not Orlando has picked up the contract and the sheet music?
The sheet music is already in my jacket, can I say? As far as the contract,
absolutely, you can say. Absolutely.
As far as the contract goes, if you, I don't know who's closer to it, but it could be just like the eyes, like negotiate whoever gets.
Yeah, I think actually Wilma grabbed the contract.
Great.
Great.
And I move the candles away to make it harder for him to see what she's doing.
Very good. And so now you're being told to leave immediately. What are you going to do? Geraldine, you just acted. Orlando or Wilma?
I think now that we have seen what we see, I think rather than cause more of a ruckus, perhaps we should comply.
Well, I would never stay at such an establishment when this is the repair in which they keep their rooms. And I bustle out in my best impression of a lady.
Very good. I can assume you're all leaving?
Yes.
Very good. Soon the night air greets you again, and now it is the sky has taken on a midnight blue hue. The sky is clear. The stars are twinkling high above you, and you are standing in front of the Hotel Royale's back door. The smells of the particular alley you're standing in greet your nose, and you realize they are not quite so horrid as the odd odor from the room you were just in. Let me know what you'd like to look at, what you'd like to do.
I didn't investigate that smell. Geraldine, we found many strange things in the room, but the most we can assume is that he was taken without his consent.
I see.
Your Mr. Stevens has been snared and brought only the Lord knows where.
We smelled a carry-on flower, a rather strange thing to be in a room. Could I roll to see if it has any occult meaning or like purpose in terms of supernatural?
That makes sense. You may roll you may roll your Cthulhu Mythos skill.
I got it.
Are you kidding me? That's amazing.
I rolled an 11 on a 21.
That's amazing. I have to say this because people usually don't get really high Cthulhu Mythos, but Wilma's been with us a while and has done a lot of investigations, and I've very rarely seen someone get their Cthulhu Mythos skill to work. So check it because that's fun. And I will tell you that
it's uncheckable.
Oh, that's right. Thank you for reminding me of the rule. Well, anyway, congratulations on that. Congratulations on so slowly going mad. And I will tell you that in your perusal of the Book of Dead Names 3 years ago, you came upon mentions of many different creatures that had the smell of rotting flesh were mentioned in the tome. In particular, strange precursor creatures, things that hail from the dawn of time and that seeded life on Earth. Their odor was mentioned more than once in that hoary tome before you gave it back to the mystic to whom it belonged. So that is all
I just
can tell you
turn
about
and walk down the alley a little on my own and just yes, I remember in the Book of Dead Names. Yes, that's it. Then I turn back to them perfectly fine.
Miss Middleman?
Yes.
You seemed to enter a reverie there for a moment.
I believe I did. Yes. Just something unnatural may have taken him, judging by that smell that I'm sure you experienced as I did.
Indeed, but you assured me that it had a most natural origin.
Right. Perhaps I was wrong about that. What have you found in the room, Orlando?
I open up the music, and I'm kind of like looking at it, and like, can I kind of like You hear like the tenor of Orlando Robichaux's voice as he's like singing like the first few lines. Are there any notes?
No. I slap it out of his hand.
Okay. Great. Well, first let's have Orlando roll his craft of violin playing, which he's quite good at, I believe.
Yes, I hard succeed.
So Orlando, it's a complex piece, but it is you're familiar with Foster Stevens. He's sold a lot of songs that have become quite popular on the music halls of pre-Civil War America. He's taken something very complex here and maybe kind of fit it into his milieu. But the thing that is significant to you is that it feels damnably familiar, this tune, and that's when as Wilma says, she slaps it out of your hand and the pages kind of fall down into the alleyway.
With what you deal, sometimes you could intone something that perhaps you found in a book with some strange Latin name, and then you learned Latin just so you'd be able to read it, and then horrible things come for you because you read it.
Please, calm yourself,
Right.
Middleman.
Think of the farm.
Certainly you did. But I too have cracked an unholy tome in my time. And just to be out of game for a sec, the book that I got was the Pnakotic Codex. Is that right?
Yes. So many moons ago, when Orlando Robichaud was first introduced to the Neptune Society, he had an adventure on a boat, a whaling vessel, with the infamous Captain Herod. And during that adventure, he stole a book from Captain Herod. And that book was, in fact, the Pnakotic manuscripts. Orlando, we can assume that is where you, in your apartment, in your home. And if you'd like to go and investigate it again more thoroughly, you may, but I can answer any questions you have about the memory of it. I remember that at one point you tried to read it and were unsuccessful.
Yes. I think, in the years that have passed since then, I would hope that I've made deeper attempts.
I think that's completely possible. And so let's see how you've done. Let's see if you have possibly achieved it. I think that what we need to do is let me make sure, but I believe that what we need to do is make a hard intelligence roll.
Okay.
Oh, first it's written in English. It was written in English. So let's flash back. Let's set the scene.
Great.
Many years ago, Orlando is drinking his absinthe. He's in his apartment and he's deciding to take another stab at the Pnakotic manuscripts. And what I can tell you about the Pnakotic manuscripts is that this is a handwritten copy. The infamous Captain Herod had taken an old tome and had copied it in his own scrawl and added his own notes. So this was his own personally copied version of the Pnakotic manuscripts. It's a lengthy series of epic poems that detail the pre-human history of the earth. Captain Herod's notes reinterpreted the texts through a Judeo-Christian point of view. So he was taking these strange old myths and he was reinterpreting them to mean things about Genesis and the Bible. So here we go. Learning a spell from a Mythos book. Yes, you are not learning a spell. You're just reading it. So give me give me an own language roll. An own language roll.
Okay. Let's see.
Ross should probably auto max out on that skill.
You'd hope. It's I succeeded hard.
Okay, very good. So at some point
I read it good. I'm sorry.
At some point you did read the Pnakotic manuscripts. Maybe it was years ago. And at that time, and it's going to affect you now, you lost 8 sanity from reading it. And your Cthulhu mythos went up. I'm going to say you did a full study of it. That's what you said you'd like to do, right?
Yes.
At that time, your Cthulhu mythos rating went up to 6%.
Oh.
And now I can tell you all about it. But the reason that the book came to your mind, Orlando, and I'm sure the reason that you're mentioning it now,
Yeah, I'm wondering
is because you heard in that first adventure you were on, many times you heard Captain Herod singing a chant. Yes, the infamous Captain Herod. You heard him singing a chant in his cabin at night. That was one of the clues, one of the things that let you know he was up to something in the Neptune Society Volume 3. And so that song, that chant that he would sing over and over sounds suspiciously like this musical composition.
Oh, come the rapture.
So if you would like to tell the others about the book, I can go into detail about the book, or you all may continue with your investigation somehow.
I'm sorry to have ripped it out of your hand. Here, have it back.
And I scoop it up off the ground.
Just be careful. Be ready.
No. I understand. Sometimes we plumb the depths of books, not knowing where they shall lead. I can see in your eyes that you too have been in these sojourns in realms where the eye was perhaps not meant to linger for too long, and yet we find it beguiling all the same.
Yes, yes, we do.
And then tuck back in jacket, and but there is something unnatural going on here.
I slammed my cane and the cobblestones just to grab everybody's attention, and I say, now look here. I've been saddled with you two maniacs for the next, and I grab my pocket watch out, 21 hours of this investigation. But in all of my years of law enforcement, of study of the law, of criminology, there's no record whatsoever that anything can be explained by anything unnatural. And whatever language you two are speaking to each other is not helping us find this Foster Stevens and get paid.
To have your naivete, Geraldine, would be such a pleasure.
Indeed, many people never see that which is unnatural, which seems to dwell outside the bounds of all that you know of space and time. And all I can tell to you, Ms. Beauregard, is pray you never do.
Indeed. Well, shall we head to the theater, perhaps see if he's left any remnants there?
Perhaps. Can I make a roll? Okay, it seems we've got abduction. We got beyond that leads of where.
I think maybe we missed something in the hotel room, but
you may make intelligence room. You may make an intelligence roll, each of you, if you'd like.
Yeah,
there might be something more in that contract.
Oh, never mind. You don't need to make the intelligence roll because you've remembered it on your own, Ross Bryant. You, Wilma, and you snatched a contract. You haven't looked closely at it yet.
Yes, I'd like to read it.
And so you shall. The contract is for the sale of the song "O Come the Rapture" to Gilman Publishing, a publishing house that is located here in New Orleans on Canal Street.
Aha. Well, it is the middle of the night, or at least midnight, it seems to me, but perhaps we should go to this place that wanted his music and he didn't seem willing to sign.
Yes. Led us away. Has Orlando had any dealings with Gilman Publishing in the past?
Well, yes. I think that you don't really know who runs it, but you've heard a lot of musicians grumbling about the fact that they don't give good deals or that they don't want to buy music. So, they don't want to buy original compositions. So this is significant. Of course, the famous musician Foster Stevens has managed to sell this particular song to them.
Well, perhaps we should pay a call.
Indeed.
And so you do. And so it is a short walk through the French Quarter to Canal Street. You walk for 15, 20 minutes, and it is New Orleans. So even though it is now getting a little late, people are still out and about and abroad, and it is, unlike many cities of the United States at this time, a cosmopolitan place. People of every race, color, and creed move about. It's not like other places in the 1860s in America where it was proper to be asleep by sundown so that you could be up to milk the cow in the morning. No, instead, people are about at all hours laughing. And you pass a place called Congo Square, where you hear someone intoning a trumpet. So there is music in the city streets, even this, a very early time period. Eventually, you find yourself standing before Gilman Publishing on Canal Street.
Before that, might I take the sheet music and give it to this trumpeter to have him play it, in case it brings horrible effects upon the musician?
Ooh, okay. So yeah, let's back up a little bit. So yes, there's a gentleman and he's playing trumpet alone on a street corner, and
Monsieur Robichaud,
Wilma,
may I borrow the sheet music for just a moment?
I hesitantly am like, as you wish, but see that it is not harmed.
Indeed, and hold this, if you will, and I give him the contract as sort of like, ante, whatever.
Music contracts always rip off. God. Only publishing for the rest of his life.
Pardon me, good sir, I say to the trumpeter.
Yes.
Can you read sheet music?
Some.
Sure. Will you play this for me? And I just hold it up in front of his face, but I'm not looking, and I'm sort of pushing my face back as far as I can.
I'm afraid it's not really. Well, I can try.
Thank you.
Do we really have time for that?
I take out some sort of banknote and throw it in whatever he's collecting tips in.
Okay. All right. So he is going to make an art craft music roll, and it's going to be hard because this isn't really like set up for a trumpet to play, but he can still give it a shot. He also doesn't read music excellently, so let's see. Okay. He just made it, and so the strange, almost at first, kind of like melancholy strands of this song break into the New Orleans night, and you all, as you listen to it, feel sort of a deep sort of sadness, as of something lost or something passed away. And then I have to see something else. Yeah. He finishes the composition and is like, I don't play for free, miss.
I've just put a banknote into your hat there, but here's another. Is that sufficient? Thank you for not exploding.
Was the song what you thought it would be?
No, not at all. I thought it would make your head explode into a million gory pieces. Thank you. Good day.
One of Alvaro's compositions, if I'm not mistaken.
You know him?
Edwin Alvaro? Yeah, he hangs around here in the summer months sometimes.
Not Foster Stevens?
The name Edwin Alvaro immediately piques your interest, Orlando Robichaud. You have some sort of very strong relationship with a man named Edwin Alvaro. And you may tell me in a moment what that relationship is, but yes, the man says, Foster Stevens. No, I've heard Alvaro playing this same tune.
Interesting. And where's the man now?
Alvaro?
Yes.
Well, he spends the winter months up on Pontchartrain, up on the lake. I believe he keeps the lighthouse up on the lake. And then in the summer, he can be found in the French Quarter or around the resorts near the lake, playing.
That does me no good now. Right. All right. Anyway, thank you for your time. And I turn back to my cohorts.
As we walk away, I under my breath, turn to Wilma and say, did you really think that song was going to make his head explode? You know that's attempted murder, right?
Well, Miss Beauregard, if you don't believe in the supernatural, how could you possibly think I was committing murder?
Well, I don't, and I don't. And I huffily walk away.
I don't, and I don't. The perfect Scully. So far, she has seen nothing that would change her mind. I completely see where she's coming from.
Oh, she is Scully. Yes.
So, soon. Well, yeah. I mean, would you like to change tack, or are we going to Gilman Publishing as before?
Yeah, Gilman Publishing.
Yeah.
Samesies.
Very good. You are now standing in front of Gilman Publishing. Gilman Publishing is a 2-story office at 2940 Canal Street. The broadside advert on the side of the building announces that they are the publishers of periodicals, pamphlets, penny novels, sheet music, and technical treatises on a variety of scientific and philosophical subjects. The office has paid an artist to create a logo for their business that depicts a stylized eye within a triangle. And it's there in front of you. There is a bit of a window, but it's not like kind of modern buildings with like a big storefront window or anything like that. Yeah, they've got like a little bit of a logo there.
I have
Some
seen this before.
tentacles. Yeah. Oh, you've seen this before?
I feel like I've seen this before.
Yes, you may make an intelligence roll, Wilma Middlemass.
Succeed.
Yes, you have seen this symbol before when you were a child. Yes, adorning a building, a church called the Esoteric Order of Dagon.
Yes. Oh, this is a dark place we're about to head into, but perhaps there's no one here in the middle of the night. So
It is a dark place. It's dark inside. It's evening, so there's no business going on at present, as far as you know. And as I was saying, there's not really like a big kind of storefront window. It's just offices, little steps going up, and then like regular windows as of a townhouse or something like that.
Well, what do you all propose we do? Perhaps we break a window and climb in, or try the front door?
I do believe a subtler approach would be more appropriate. And then I'd like to try to lockpick our way inside. Or at least open the door first, see if it's open. If it is locked, then I will pick a lock.
Yeah, it is locked. So would you, you're out on Canal Street here, but it is getting later. So there aren't a lot of people happening by. Do you want to try locksmith?
Yes, please. I would love to.
stand with my back to her, shielding her from the street, and I whisper, I took you as a woman of the law. I'm quite surprised to see you breaking and entering, as it were.
As I'm picking, I say, even a woman of the law must know how to break it sometimes, Miss Middlemass. And I got an extreme success. I got a 5.
Hey, there you go. Check that. And the door creaks open. Looking inside, you see that there is a small sort of foyer entry area with a desk for ostensibly the clerk to greet potential clients or people selling their publications, their work. And behind him, there's a door into what looks to be the printing press, the warehouse and the printing press. And then to one side, there are, again, steps leading upward. And there's a couple desks here on the first floor, too, where perhaps people do a little bit of layout, or they do what at the time might be called a scrivener's job, a clerk's job. There's a couple desks over near the stairs where people might do that kind of work.
I asked Mr. Robichow if he would take out the contract and see if there is a specific business person's name listed.
I do so.
Yes, the proprietors of Gilman Publishing are Hosea Gilman and Gabriel Sargent.
Josiah Gilman and Gabriel Sargent are the proprietors of this particular musical endeavor. Neither of them seem to be in these offices, although perhaps they keep late hours up above us.
Well, perhaps their offices would be the more interesting place to begin our search.
Might I recommend we take a bit of a stealthier approach than we did last time at the Hotel Royale?
Well, seemed to work out in the end, did it not?
Thanks to a bit of fancy footwork on my end. Yes, it did.
Indeed. Why didn't you take the lead then?
All right, and I have pretty good stealth, so I'd like to try to stealthily move us upstairs.
That's a great idea. Why don't you roll your stealth, and the other two will be your helpers. What is your stealth score?
My stealth score is 50. I rolled a 22, which is
Okay.
a middle success.
That's
Hard.
great. Yeah,
Hard success?
that's
Success.
it's a success. Yeah. And now Orlando and Wilma, you're kind of in a group action here, so I want you to roll yours as well, just to see how it goes. But regardless, it is a success. You are getting up there quietly.
My boots are very heavy and made of steel.
Okay.
I can't when I walk.
I managed. I do okay.
Oh, very good. So I'm going to give our friend
Light-
Geraldine, just as the leader of the group action, 1 sanity of tension from having to like quiet Wilma's boots like at one point while heading up the wooden stairs. And soon you are silently up in the upstairs offices, cramped and damp. You notice immediately, like, because you're even like using your hands to kind of slowly creep up the stairs, you notice that the wood is sort of damp up here.
Knowing the order of Dagon, I put my hand to my throwing knife once again.
I noticed this, and because we're knife buddies now, I'm like, game
Yeah.
recognized game. So the knife is like.
I lift my eyebrows at him very subtly.
It's extremely. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I crouch, I hold my hand up against this wall, and I crouch and lift my skirts, and there's a thigh holster, and I get my Colt 22. I get my Colt 22 out.
But this you probably wouldn't notice, but you can just see Orlando Rubbish who's like, "Mm."
The party is now bristling with weapons. But what to aim them at? For it is exceptionally dark up here. The window sash is apparently down, so none of the moonlight or starlight is flooding in. How would you like to handle that? I mean, you get the vague impression of maybe some desks or some furniture ahead of you.
I cast ball of light.
Haha, if only.
I look around. Do I see any other flammables to light up and provide light on?
You're gonna kind of grope for maybe something to light.
Okay. Well, I think I've got matches because I smoke peach rose cigarillos. But
Very good.
So maybe just one match.
Very good. And when you do that, you suddenly become aware that at one of the desks, a huge corpulent man is asleep, and his chest is going up and down, and you almost his snores are almost imperceptible. You all have creeped up here, and he is sleeping at his desk. He has a wide mouth, and his jowls kind of hang loosely from his face, and even in his sleep, even in this cool climate, he sweats. Moisture dampens his brow and drips from his chin. He's dressed in a waistcoat that is 2 sizes too small for him, and every time his chest rises, it appears that he's about to pop a button. What will you do about this gentleman?
I'd like to drop to the floor.
Very good. You do so.
I lean into whatever direction Orlando Robichaud is, and I say, "Do you suppose this is Gilman or Sargent?"
Based on the ichthyous nature of his person, perhaps this is the Gill man himself.
People are whispering.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to make a roll.
Okay.
Okay. What would you like to do next?
So wait, just a layout question.
A great question. Yes. What are you looking at now that the match has been lit? Is that what you're about to ask?
Yeah. Are we in a hallway and the office is off of the hallway, or is it like a bullpen type thing?
It is a bullpen. Like once you got up to the second floor, you're in this room, this office. And what you see are 2 desks sort of facing each other. One empty, one with the corpulent gentleman I mentioned, a closet between the 2 of them, with like kind of a coat hanger beside it with like a bowler hat hanging on it, and then lining the walls, filing cabinets.
Do we kill him?
I'm like, perhaps some threats are in order.
It's just a wordless, dirty look that
Mhm.
Geraldine shoots Wilma. Like, no.
Tie him up. Let's tie him up.
I just walk over to him and as stealthily as I can, just kind of put my flick knife, shaving razor style, underneath the sort of bullfrog of his throat.
So how is that? So that's you do that, but how does that happen with the match?
Let's say I think maybe that's burned out already.
I think it has.
But with the residual light or memory of what I saw in the match light.
Okay, so you're moving without light. You're moving in the darkness silently. So I do think that might be a little tricky. That might be a bit of a risk. So Orlando, let's see. I think that is going to be a knife. Let's call it a knife roll.
Okay.
Oh, but it's hard because you're doing it in darkness.
Did I see where the window sash was when the match was burning?
Hey, you probably did, Wilma Middlemass.
Okay, as he's going to pull his knife, I'm also gonna stumble to the window sash and try and lift it.
This is one of those times where I'm going to push.
And tell me what new tactic you're taking.
So rather than knife, I guess. New tactic. Let's see. Perhaps I rather than just try to walk my way over with memory, I'm now feeling my way. So maybe the knife is just like I'm touching table.
Geraldine, your companions are getting you into deeper trouble as you can hear them getting you into deeper trouble. Would you like to do anything to set this, and then we'll roll for everything?
I mean, it sounds like we're getting into a position where we can wake him up and scare him.
Yeah.
So I think what I'm trying to do is wait until we have Wilma pulling the window sash, we have Orlando with the knife, and then at that moment I'm going to make a clatter with my cane to wake this guy up and surprise him with all of these things and get him on his back foot. So I'm trying to time it. I hear them like sneaking, stumbling, scratching through the darkness, and then I'm like, all right, and then
is your Colt in your other hand?
And my Colt is in my other hand. Yeah. I've got, and it's
right.
I'm not necessarily brandishing it at him, but it's like held against the bosom of my corset with the cane in my left hand.
Great. So here's what happens. You are opening the window sash. Yes, Wilma?
Yes.
And how did your push roll go, Mr. Orlando Robichaud?
Is not good.
Okay. So here's what happens. Orlando, okay, it happens in this order. The sash goes up. Moonlight streams into the room. Geraldine and Wilma are horrified by the fact that the man's eyes are already open and he is already beginning to chant some sort of foul litany. Orlando, however, having missed a push roll, has tripped. Was surprised by the flying open of the window sash, and has tripped and has fallen to the ground, and his knife has skittered across the office a bit. And so now we will begin in a dexterity turn order, and I must insist that my man, because some things have happened, he gets to, because Orlando's attempt failed, my man does get one attempt at the thing that he's doing. So he's he's reciting some foul litany, and who does he have in front of him? Not Orlando, who is sort of on the ground behind him, sort of. No, he has both Geraldine and Wilma, but Geraldine's directly in front of him, and so he is casting something on her. Geraldine, as he starts to intone this foul spell, you must roll your power attribute.
My power. Okay. Power. Okay. I got it. I'm going to do it.
Yes.
I rolled 100. Exactly.
You rolled 100?
Yes.
So that means a critical fail.
Oh,
yes, sir.
No.
Yes, sir.
But I have an interesting thing to tell you, which is that
great.
this was an opposed POW roll, so he had to roll his power too to cast at you, and he rolled 100. I'm not.
Whoa.
This eldritch mythos magic has gone horribly wrong, as it can for villains and heroes alike in Call of Cthulhu. And so I'm going to rule that you are both affected by his foul spell. You suddenly feel your body seize up, and you are racked by horrible pains as every nerve in your body catches on fire, and the pressure in your head is so enormous at that moment, Geraldine, that everything goes black again. You assume Wilma has closed the sash, but no, you have become blinded, and you can feel yourself bleeding from your fingertips. You can feel yourself bleeding from your eyes and your mouth. But Orlando and Wilma, you see the same thing happening to the man at the desk. Suddenly he chokes in the middle of intoning his spell, and blood starts pouring in waves out of his eyes, his nose, and his mouth as he goes, ah, ah, ah. And now I would like for Orlando and Wilma to both roll their sanity.
I
Smashed it all in a day's work.
Okay. So if you smashed it, you take no sanity loss, but it sounds like, Wilma, you failed, right?
It's me, Wilma goes, and we're ready for some spells.
The good news is
Wilma
that
from
the
the street comes out when she goes insane.
No.
I believe if I fumble, I take the max of whatever you were gonna roll.
the good news is that you both I'm sorry, Wilma, you only take 4 sanity loss
Okay.
from and that is what's happening. So I think we're going to go ahead and say poor Geraldine is for the moment out of the scene, but of course so is the villain. You're both like what is your dexterity, Orlando Robichaud?
It is 80.
And what is yours, Wilma Middlemass? 70. So Orlando, you may now do something.
I get my darn dumb self up off the floor, and what a certified bozo. And then I scramble over to Geraldine, whipping a handkerchief out of my jacket, and I'm like daubing at the blood, like no. Return to us. What? I'm like, the slap, the snap, the shake.
Okay. No problem. So I have rolled to see how long this effect is going to last. And I can tell you that right now it looks like it's going to continue for, well, I'm not going to tell you actually. It's going to continue for a little bit. But if you'd like to lessen the damage being done to our poor friend Geraldine Beauregard, you may make a first aid roll this turn.
Okay. Yeah, I'll do that. I'm not good at that.
Well, everybody starts with 30. It's an okay chance.
I did not do it.
Okay, so
I go in. Yeah, I go in to help her, and I stab her in the face and kill her.
I mean, how would someone know how to give first aid to this?
I'm
like
just
Orlando,
helplessly.
You look over at the cackling Wilma, and you are completely helpless. How do I help with this? Like as she's like,
anyone have a bunny rabbit?
And she's mad. Maybe if I can just kind of like get her into a position that seems slightly more comfortable. And
perhaps that is what you did with your first aid attempt. And Wilma Middlemass, it is now your turn.
I slap myself across the face very hard, and then I'm myself again. No, not again. And I go over to the man who's blind now, right, or dying.
His eyes look up at you, and the pupils have gone white. Like he's clearly blinded, and he's never looked more like a gasping fish than he does now, just like, and his jowls are jiggling furiously. What would you like to do?
Excellent. I want to run over and tip his chair back so that he falls on the floor and then start searching the desk for information about anything about where our man has gone.
You topple Gilman or Sergeant, you're not sure which, to the floor where he lays convulsing. And then you begin to search the desk and you see that there's not much on top of it, but there is a locked drawer.
Do I? I check his pockets for the key.
You will in this next turn. Orlando, what would you like to do now?
If Geraldine is as settled as I can make her, I rise. I see what Wilma's doing, and I think maybe rather than as she's rifling his pockets, maybe my knife goes into the drawer and.
Very good. Yes, no roll necessary. A knife could open a little wooden desk drawer. And so you pop it open and you find a single contract inside the desk.
A man of knives, I see. Of my own heart.
Knife.
And I stand up and
recognize
shop.
knife.
Since he has obliviated the need for you to find keys. Well, actually, you do find keys, actually. Yeah, you have found the keys, but would you like to do something else?
I just look over his shoulder at the contract. Oh, and
very good. Excellent.
Yeah, I don't know if there's any other way we should further incapacitate Gilman or Sergeant. He seems good.
Yeah, he seems good, and so does your poor friend Geraldine, who is
right. Oh, yes, of course, Geraldine. And I go over and try and perform.
Do you not
aid.
have some sort of a medical training?
Okay, you will on this next round, but this turn I think you like kind of pulled the keys out of the pocket, turned around, and looked at the contract. So I will allow you to look at the contract, and I would like to tell you this about the contract. This contract is a formal business agreement. It is written in the style of a business agreement between the Esoteric Order of Dagon and someone that is notated as the Old Ones. And it says that in return for the sacrifice of 600 willing souls, the order will be gifted something called a shoggoth. This is all written very clearly in excellent penmanship to the letter of business at the time on the front of the contract. The sacrifice of 600 willing souls to the Old Ones for a shoggoth is what the contract says. And now it is the fourth round. And Orlando, what would you like to do?
Okay, I suppose I've seen this cast my eye over the contract as well. I would like to seek to incapacitate him more now that I've seen this horrible thing. And is there anything? Is there rope around? Is there
I see like jackets hanging from the coat rack? Rope? No, you don't see any.
Tie the sleeves together.
Yeah. I just grab a couple of these jackets. I bundle up a sleeve and cram it in his mouth, and take the other one in and I'm in the process of tying up his hands.
Very good. And Wilma, you said you'd like to run over and give Geraldine some first aid now?
I would.
Go ahead.
I look at her and the blood from her eyes and the whole mess, and I just say, there.
And so Geraldine continues to struggle, but perhaps she now does believe in the supernatural. Moving to round 5.
I told you so, didn't I?
What would you like to do, Orlando, now that you have secured the gentleman?
Okay, yeah. Once he's secured, I just continue to search.
Okay, great. There is the closet and there are the filing cabinets.
I pop open a filing cabinet if I can.
Okay. I'll allow it. On the top of one of the new business filing cabinets, you find a preliminary draft of the song "Oh Come the Rapture," filed under Foster Stevens.
Okay.
Wilma, what would you like to do?
Well, I guess I could continue to try and help Ms. Beauregard, but yeah, I'm gonna take another round and see what did they teach us in Paris. I literally spent time studying medicine. I must know something.
Yes. Do you have any items that might help you? I don't believe that you
I
do.
don't need them because something comes to me. I shall do some things and splash a glass of water in her face.
Okay.
Science.
That's a good idea. Try that. Yeah, that's a scientific.
I got a
score.
20 on a 30.
Give
A
her
20 on a 30.
purge of mercury. Yeah.
Yes, Mercury.
Perhaps the
So-
leeching.
Yes.
So, I mean, unbelievably, and perhaps because this illness or this affliction was caused by supernatural means, unbelievably, splashing a glass of water works marvel. You grab a glass of water off of one of the desks, you splash it onto the face of Geraldine, and immediately, her eyes that were white sclera, no pupils, she opens them again and she can see again. And although covered in quite a bit of blood, she has stopped spasming.
Yes.
Geraldine, what would you like to do now that you are?
Can I speak? What do I remember about what just happened to me?
You remember very clearly a man intoning some sort of strange language toward you, and then suddenly things going black and you being filled with pain.
Okay. And so the pain is gone. I can see again. I'm covered in blood, for real.
Yeah, your own.
Okay. Okay, cool. So I'm shaking, and I hold my hands up in front of me, and they're covered in what has to be my own blood. And I look up at Wilma, and I clutch her face between my hands and say, "What on God's earth just happened to me?"
Right, I know. You're
That
in
is
it now.
So that's the end of that round, and that is when the spell has run its course for your tied up friend as well. And since one of you is looking in the cabinet and the other two are kind of checking on each other, suddenly he knocks over the coat rack and starts beating and everybody can make a listen roll.
Uh-oh.
He's making so much sound. I can't hear everything. Can't.
38 on a 20 for me.
Okay. No. Okay. Well, you can see that he is apparently making a ruckus, trying to let people know where he's at. And so I will allow you to use that knowledge in what you decide to do next. We are going to start at the top of the round again. But Geraldine, what is your dexterity?
My dex is 70.
70. Okay, the same as Wilma. So Orlando, you may go first, and then I believe it will be Wilma and then Geraldine.
I whip my knife over to his gullet again. I'm like, cease your berating, or else this steel will find purchase in your throat, good man.
He has the clothes that you stuffed into his mouth, but you can tell that he's like, his gray, unhealthy pallor disgusts you. So what would you like to do, Wilma Middlemass? Oh, you may make an intimidate roll, Orlando, if you'd like.
Okay. Yeah. Oof, I'm not rolling hot tonight, y'all. Sorry.
Not tonight. Okay, Wilma, what would you like to do?
Well, as Monsieur Robichaud speaks of knives, I enact them, and I whip around as I'm knelt over Geraldine, and as I'm spinning, I pull the knife out from behind and I throw it at his heart.
Here we go. First blood in tonight's adventure.
Wouldn't you know, it's a critical success.
Really? Okay. So as Orlando was like, you better quiet down or there's going to be trouble. Suddenly, boing, like a knife appears in the guy's neck. And he's like, wow, excellently done. A critical success. Why don't you go ahead and check that skill if you'd like, Wilma Middlemans. And now, Geraldine, your investigatory companion has just committed murder. What would you like to do?
Yeah, this seems like a pretty fatal blow, right? Like there's no bring this guy back to interrogate.
Oh, I'm not going to sit here, adding up HP when the man is tied up and we have a critical hit to the neck.
Okay,
Yeah.
So I turn my now. By the way, Wilma, you now have like these cool blood streaks from my hands on both cheeks, and I watch you turn from that grasp and just knife this guy in the gullet. I suppose we're not going to get any more information out of him. And can I do a spot hidden? Is there anything here?
May. Yeah, you
All
certainly may. Yeah.
Let's do it. Woo. Okay, I got a 2 on a 40, so I guess a critical success.
That is
a very good success.
That is a critical success.
My little number is 8.
Oh wow! I want you to check it,
Nice.
and I want to give you something better than what I was going to give you. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you 2 things. The first is that you immediately notice like a change in the shadows of the room, and you realize it's because someone's like kind of like coming up the stairs right now, very quietly. The second thing I'll let you do is your spot hidden was such a critical success that I'm going to let you define something that you find, or I can come up with something if you can't, but what do you spot that's really key in this scene right now?
I think that one of the filing cabinets that line the walls, it appears to have been shifted from its original position to a new position relatively recently. So there's dust that shouldn't have been moved or has been moved that shouldn't have. And so there's clearly been a sliding of something very heavy.
That is true. So that's true, and you may act on that when your turn comes around again. But this time you took a moment, like kind of taking everything in and finding that. So now we come back to the top of the turn order with Orlando Robichaud.
Okay, so I was just like, see, smack. Well, damn it. Okay. Second time, I've been like, we could probably get it. You kick down the door. We could probably intimidate. You're just going to kill him? Okay. So I pull out my handkerchief and like, well, so much for discretion. See that it's covered in blood. Maybe. I guess we're now back in. We're plunged in darkness this whole time, right?
Well, no. Wilma did throw up the sash earlier, so
yes. So we got moonlight. We got moonlight in.
Starlight, yeah.
Okay, great. Do I clock Geraldine saying that, or intimating that there's someone coming up the stairs?
I think that if I've told it to one player, then certainly I may reveal it to the others. So yes, perhaps Geraldine has mentioned something to that effect.
Yeah, I may not have mentioned it, Orlando, but you see me, like, my head is on a swivel suddenly, like looking toward the staircase.
And I'm like, And I'll just take up a position next to the door with knife, ready to pounce.
Taking up a position next to the door with knife, ready to pounce, was an extremely good move. Because at that very moment in the dexterity order, a man comes around the corner, and he likewise, he's a bit younger, but he has the thick lips, the gray complexion, and the sort of generally damp visage of the older man that you have just stabbed.
He's a moist
in the throat.
He's a hashtag moist boy. Yeah,
he's a moist boy. He comes around the corner, holding an old flintlock pistol, turning it toward the two women, but he does not see Orlando to his side. And let's see here. I think that because you spied at Geraldine, and because Orlando took up kind of a position to take advantage of it, Orlando, you may do something, and then we will go to Wilma and Geraldine before this guy does anything else. So, Orlando, would you like to do anything when you see the man come up?
Damn, I'm like, feel like I've learned. Perhaps this is Orlando learning his lesson. And has he fully come through the door?
He has. Well, it's just steps, right? Because we said the steps lead right up into this little, almost like attic or like studio space where they keep their upstairs office.
Great. The knife is like in his back, and I'm like, drop your weapon, sir.
Very good. No intimidation roll this time. A knife is in his back. Wilma, what would you like to do?
I would like to roll out of the way and under the other desk we haven't explored yet.
Very good. Okay, so you've rolled under that desk.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, very good. Perhaps he has not even seen you because if you're rolling along the floor. He has. And now, Geraldine, what would you like to do?
I still, I think when this song was being chanted at me, I dropped my pistol. So I have collected it at this point, but it remains, sort of clutched to my corset, which I find is a very effective form of intimidation. And with Orlando's knife in this guy's back and his eyes probably fixed on me and where Wilma used to be, I say, I think we have some questions that need answering, monsieur. If you would kindly take a seat.
The man feels thoroughly beaten with a knife to his back and a gun pointed at him. And so he will do as you say and go and fall into the empty seat. And then that's when he notices under the desk Wilma Middlemass.
Hello, sir. I have the knife from my left ankle pointed at him, just for triple threat.
Very well. What do you want here?
First of all, are you Hosea Gilman or Gabriel Sargent?
Neither.
Oh.
The name's Olmsted. Enzo Olmsted. I work here in the warehouse nights. And then he looks over and he sees Gilman on the floor, and he's like, my God, you killed him. You'll hang for this.
He would have done worse to us. I'm afraid your benefactor seems to have been dabbling in some terribly dark things.
How dare you, sir? Why, Hosea Gilman is a respected businessman.
Right.
Well, if one can judge a businessman by those that he does business with, then I suppose that we beg to differ. But allow me to cut to the heart of the matter, unless either of these ladies would care to intervene, to ask you, where is Foster Stevens, sir?
Sir, as far as I know, Foster Stevens is in his hotel room at the Hotel Royal, or perhaps somewhere in the French Quarter. We have simply made arrangements to purchase a song from him.
Wrong answer. And I take my knife under the desk and I stick the tip into his, man parts.
Please!
Where is Foster Stevens?
Please, they don't tell me anything!
Come, as you can see, sir.
Member of the order yet?
Member of the order. As you can see, I attempt to be a gentleman and somewhat persuasive. However, my friends can be slightly more persuasive if moved to the matter.
Well, I should tell you both, it seems they all worship some sort of fish god. I may have seen it in the flesh once before. Rather frightening.
Be that as it may, Olmsted, what kind of order are you trying to join, sir?
The Order of Dagon. I'm aware I've been in their headquarters before. But please, I don't know of this chapter, so go on.
So you are one of our many enemies. Well, you shall not prevail. Yes, for that which is dead may eternal lie, and with strange aeons even death may die.
You're not even in the club yet, sir. And I poke him again.
Ow!
What would you like to do to this gentleman? Do you think you can get more information out of him? You may try for that, or what would you like to do?
I'd like to ask him if he knows of any other properties owned by Mr. Gilman.
I know of no other properties owned by Mr. Gilman here in New Orleans.
And have you made any arrangements with any musician by the name of Edwin Alvaro?
Yes, he came complaining that Stevens had stolen his song. Yes, he came complaining about that. But of course, we want the song to be heard. That is why we are a publishing company. Why we would love for hundreds of people all over the country to be playing a famous Foster Stevens song. Well, imagine the gentle tones of "O Come the Rapture" playing in every parlor across these great United States. How wonderful that would be if a Gilman publishing song was known by name in every single house.
That sounds like a positive thing, but then you say it in such a menacing way.
It's a question of tone, sir.
Orlando Robichaux, I would like you to now make an intelligence roll.
Mm-hmm. Man, it's been really hard for me to roll. Oh, wait. I'm going to spend luck.
Okay.
I made just over.
You might not want to have spent luck, but I'm going to accept that expenditure.
I'll do it.
You have a relationship with Edwin Alvaro. What is that relationship? It can be any kind of relationship you like, but it is a strong one.
So, and he's another musician.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Quite a talented one, but not a rich one.
Okay. Let's say that we're both musicians. I know him as a fellow musician. If let's see, if in this world, if in this weird little microcosm, if I'm Liszt, he's Chopin, and like all charm, and like Shrinking Violet doesn't want to be around people except one or two people, and I'm like, this man is a musical hermit, but his brilliance should be known by all. But
he is maybe perhaps a Salieri to your Mozart in a way.
There we go. Yeah. And yeah, someone who desperate and diligent striver, a person who gets what he gets by work and not by inborn talent.
And what you recall in this moment, as you bring up Edwin Alvaro again, and this man talks about the song playing in every household in America, what you recall is a night many weeks ago. You recall a memory from a drunken haze. Perhaps you'd been staying up late, drinking absinthe with your friend Edwin Alvaro. And that evening, almost a blackout level of inebriation, you say, "Let me play you a tune that I've come across in my travels." And that is the moment when you play for the first time, when you release into the world the tune that comes to be known as "O Come the Rapture." No. You found it, you heard it on the deck of the Pi Macum 20 years ago. You read about it in the Pnakotic manuscripts, and in a drunken haze, you were the first to play it, and that is how it has come here to this publishing house tonight. You realize that you have caused all of this and must make a sanity roll.
I have been the vessel. Dear Lord, what have I wrought? And buddy, I failed it.
What does that mean? Is that good? Is that good? when that happens?
No, it's. Oh, sorry. It's quite bad to fail your sanity roll, Orlando.
All my life
you
I've
are
attempted to
now-
be an acolyte of the muses. Can it be that much like every Christ does have his Satan, even the muses themselves have dark inspirers of fell and horrid verses?
Yes, sir. You are the composer himself of this strange and haunted tune, and I am rolling a sanity loss for you now. And I am very sad to say that it is 18.
Wow.
You have gone indefinitely insane. What an ending to our adventure tonight as Orlando begins gibbering madly in this office. And I will set one last scene.
No, Eupsychary, Terpsichore, Euterpe, Polyhymnia, I have betrayed you all. I've drunk deep from the anti-helicon. No!
Yes, I will set another scene several blocks away as a lonely trumpet player finishes a composition. Looks around, sees the street deserted, and decides there's be no more coins thrown into his hat tonight. He turns to pick up his jacket when suddenly a great white light greets his face. There's the sound of rushing wind as an enormous door opens before him on the side of a brick building. And from out of that great white space, lope and waddle enormous, shadowy forms. Tonight's adventure of the Neptune Society has been the Pnakotic Sonata.
Terrifying.
Oh.
Yes, the Pnakotic Sonata.
Yay! Thank you, Jared.
We will return for 2 more parts of the Pnakotic Sonata the next 2 Saturdays. There she's back. I want to thank my incredible players, Ross Bryant, Becca Scott, and Kate Welch for joining me here tonight. Guys, you were amazing. And I fear for you. How are we going to bring Orlando back from? I actually had that plan to maybe happen at the end of the whole series, and look, Orlando got right to it. He found it at the end of the session 1, so it should be very interesting. But yeah, any thoughts? Any comments on your way
Lack
out?
of sanity has never stopped us from achieving our goals before.
That's right. No, that's
Mhm.
true. That's true.
If anything, it can only prove inspiring. You must go on to understand the tangled knots that you have tied for us.
Right.
You
Exactly.
can't go more insane if you're already insane.
Yes.
Well, guys, thank you so much. Thank you, Kate. Thank you, Becca, and thank you, Ross. I'll see these guys back again next week on Saturday at 6 p.m.
Can't wait.
Pacific.
Great
I'm
stuff,
going to hang
Jared.
out for a second, but follow these guys on all their socials and everything they do. They're all incredible artists outside of pretending to be 1860s investigators. Thank you, guys. All right. Our end of the show business. Well, that was fun. I really enjoyed that one. Our end of the show business. Please spread the word about Stream of Blood by following us on Twitch. Subscriptions are live. Get one of those. Why? Because we'll be announcing all kinds of incredible stuff you can get through your subscription. We're on Instagram and Twitter, and that's where we announce some of the special games that we do that are not our regular series. For example, I know that we have another crossover with the Glass Cannon podcast where we're going to play a further adventure in our Blades in the Dark campaign. So that's happening, I think, October 3rd, but we announce that kind of stuff on our Twitter and our Instagram. All of our content is available on YouTube. If you're a Call of Cthulhu fan, we also have a classic 1920s campaign called Coven that stars 3 fantastic ladies who are new to role-playing, but old hands at being incredible stand-up comedians. So they make it really funny, but they also play it kind of straight the way we played it tonight. So you got to check out Coven. I'm super proud of Coven. And if you haven't been keeping up with all the drama of our 5th edition Vampire the Masquerade campaign, Vampires of Pittsburgh, you can also catch up with that on YouTube. And we'll have a new session of that tomorrow night, Sunday, at 6 p.m. Pacific. If you're on Discord, you can connect with other SOBs. Middle Twitch of Blood is a fan-run server dedicated to how sexy our good pal Thomas Middleditch is. He's one of our cast members in Vampires of Pittsburgh. And there's also an active Discord channel for Stream of Blood as well. If you want to be a fan of Stream of Blood on Discord, not specifically focused on Thomas Middleditch's physical attractiveness. We also have our newly hatched Discord Stream of Blood's server of blood, where we'll be posting announcements, extra content, chats with Jared. I didn't even know that. I guess I will chat with you guys if you want, and hosting a subscriber only channel. And because we are old, and we are such old ancient hoary men here, my producers and I, we have a Facebook group as well. Remember, it's a new schedule. So this is Neptune Society from now on, 6 p.m. Saturdays, and Vampires of Pittsburgh is 6 p.m. on Sundays. The Neptune Society music is by Warbird. SoundCloud.com/Warbird is where you can find more of that. And our title card and some additional artwork you're going to see during this series is by Will Pottorff, Pottorff. You can find more of his work at willpottorff.com. He draws monsters better than anybody. And so the music you heard during the game was by Lazaros Constantine, his solos for violin and piano. Please pardon the hiss-string playback. They are archival recordings from nearly a century ago. Clint, I don't think you need to apologize for that hiss. That archival recording quality was very atmospheric. I appreciated that. If there are any questions, shoot them my way now, and in just a second, I'll give my thank yous, and we'll get out of here and go have our Saturday night. Wasn't Becca Scott amazing? You guys should watch her Cthulhu series. I believe it's called The Calyx, which happens Wednesday nights. And if you follow Becca on Twitter or Instagram, you can find the info on that. Becca is doing published scenarios, which is really cool. If you're a hardcore Call of Cthulhu fan, you can, see how I muddle through original ideas and then how she kind of interprets, because you always have to interpret as a game master, these published scenarios. And Call of Cthulhu, by the way, in terms of published scenarios, is the greatest. That's their greatest contribution to the world of role-playing. They actually create great published scenarios, Chaosium and the Call of Cthulhu folks. So are there any questions tonight or comments? Yes. In your opinion, was there no concept of the idea of existential horror before Lovecraft? Wow. Let me get S.T. Joshi on the phone. That's a deep Cthulhu reference. That's like a scholar that's done a bunch of Cthulhu work. In my opinion, was there no concept of I don't even know if I can answer that. What I will say is I am super, super into really early science fiction and horror. And there was a lot of it in the 1800s and in what they call the Radium Age in the early 1900s before Lovecraft. There was tons of it. And what I like about it is that you really can't predict the beats of it or what the author's going to do in the story, because it's so long ago that they had a very different way of speaking and not just prose, but like the way they conceived of monsters or other planets or space travel is very odd. For example, I'm reading a book right now called Voyage to Arcturus, where they journey to the star. It's science fiction, but they journey to the star Arcturus by drinking a potion that kind of turns them into light rays, because they had no conception of rockets when that story was written. So it deals with a very different kind of lexicon of weird stuff. And I would highly recommend reading those books. They can be a little challenging, but some of them aren't that challenging. Some of them are page turners. And if you ever want to list, go to a website called High Lowbrow. And High Lowbrow, it's HILO brow.com, has what's called a Radium Age science fiction list. It's got a greatest science fiction of the 19th century list. And then you, my friend Benjamin Reinhardt, can read a couple of those and tell me if you thought the horror in them was existential. I bet some of it really was, because there's a lot of weird synopses on High Lowbrow about those different novels. I've read some. I haven't read all of them, obviously, but the synopses are so weird that I think some of it is definitely existential horror. That was my very long-winded and very dorky answer to that. Have you ever thought about putting these scenarios up into a setting like Miskatonic repository or something? Actually drafting. So 5-speed, we have thought about that, and the only thing that has stopped us, I believe, is time. Like, because they would have to go through an editing process. I'm pretty thorough in my write-ups, but they still would need to go through an editing process. And then, we were thinking about putting these out or publishing them, but we would like to have them, graphic designed, laid out so that they were pleasing to the eye and readable, not just like sort of this, weird PDF of a Word document. So, as the channel, Stream of Blood gets more subscribers, more followers, more viewers, we start to maybe make a little bit of money. These kind of things we can find time for these kind of things more often because we can kind of, hire people to take care of them for us. And so, but I can tell you also 5-speed, if you really, really, really want my notes on something, maybe like don't tell everybody that's watching right now, but maybe hit me up on the Facebook group or the Discord or something, or the Reddit. Hit us up on Reddit and say, hey, can I see the notes to that one? Because I want to run it for my friends. And as an early adopter of Stream of Blood, maybe I'll hook you up. Anything else? Okay. It seems like thanks so much. Hey, that's our secret keeper, Clinton Trucks, who helps me design all of these scenarios. Clint, thanks for your help tonight. What do you think is going to happen to Orlando Robichaux? Is he fucked or what?
Yeah, I don't think he's going to survive the next 1 or 2 sessions.
Well, that's okay. He's in his 50s now. Life's over anyway. Hey, I want to thank especially my friend Clinton Trucks here for putting up with me while we do this stream, which gives us a lot of enjoyment together. And my other producer, Brian Baldinger. Without those two guys, none of this would happen. They kind of helped me make all of this happen. Also, our social media manager, Megan Arch, who lets people know it's going on and actually really helped us figure out the subscriptions and the emotes that are coming very soon, as soon as Twitch approves them. Our logo was created by Garrett Ross, and we had additional design work by Sophia Otero and Sarah Carr. That's it. Until next time, Shub Nagurath Cthulhu Fatagan. Good night.